Crime in America continuing to spiral out of control. Several more shootings reported over the weekend. In Chicago alone, at least 5 people were killed, more than 40 others injured.
Yeah, this is a disturbing trend we've seen getting worse over the course of this last year. In fact, we'll show you this. Take a look at these statistics just from New York City alone. America's City, felony assaults up 27%, murders up 70%, overall crime up nearly 30%. And again, just in New York City there in May.
For more on this, we're joined by former New York City Police Commissioner Bernard Kerik. Thanks for coming on today. We appreciate you taking the time. I know you're taking in those stats and you've been watching them as well. And Bernie, we've seen an increase in crime in several major U.S. cities. In fact, here's what Atlanta Mayor Keishe Lansbottom said was the blame for the recent crime spike. Watch this.
Remember, in Georgia, we were open up before the rest of the country, even before the CDC said that it was safe for us to open. So our nightclubs and our bars remain open. We had people traveling here from across the country to party in our city.
So lifted lockdown restrictions, people partying. Is that a reasonable response to what we're seeing right now?
No, the mayor doesn't have a clue what she's talking about, but I'm going to give her a little hint right now. If you look at the murder numbers in Atlanta, murders up by 60% over the last year, shootings are up by 51%. But here's the key to the problem, and the mayor should take a look at this or have somebody take a look at this. 41% reduction in arrests. That is the problem, a 41% reduction in arrests. That means there's a couple things going on. There's a lack of leadership by the mayor. There's a lack of leadership by the higher-ups in the police department because of the mayor. There's a lack of prosecutions. There's a lack of enforcement. That's the problem. The cops in Atlanta, I know many of them. They're phenomenal cops. I've been down there when the mayor targeted the cops last year and went after the cops and locked them up for doing their job, and they had to be reinstated because she messed up. At the end of the day, the cops don't want to do their job. They're scared to death to go out and really work because they're being targeted by the mayor and by a bogus prosecutor. That's the problem in Atlanta. In a lot of these other cities, it's the same thing. New York City, they're villainizing the cops, the mayor, the city council. They're villainizing the cops. They're victimizing the thugs. They're taking cops off the streets. In New York City, they reduced the budget by $1 billion. They took 600 anti-crime plainclothes cops off the streets. Their job specifically is to go out and look for guns. This is every one of these cities that are having these problems are run by Democrats, every single one of them.
You know, you mentioned the specific data in Atlanta, and I just want to pull it up so our viewers can see as well. A local reporter keeping track of the data, citing the Atlanta Police Department here. Murders up 60%, shootings up 51%. And then, as you point out, so crucially, these arrests were down 43%. What kind of guidance are these officers receiving from their police sergeants? What are their sheriffs telling them about what they can and cannot do when it comes to dealing with these crimes?
Well, listen, this stuff is as sickening as it is. It's almost comical because the mayor of Atlanta has told her people they can't even get involved in foot chases without supervision. They can't get involved in a foot chase unless they have a first-line supervisor approve that chase. That's the most ridiculous and absurd thing I've ever heard. That's the kind of supervision they're getting from the mayor of Atlanta. She's got to go. They need to get somebody in Atlanta that's going to take crime seriously, because if they don't, they'll have no economic income. They'll have no real estate. The real estate values will plummet. They'll have no tourism. She's talking about people coming into Atlanta. I promise you, if they look at the numbers, those numbers are going to decrease because people are scared to death to go there.
Well, let's talk about another American city, Chicago, where Mayor Lori Lightfoot now says the real public health emergency is racism. Take a look.
That's why, ladies and gentlemen, I am here today with racial equity and healthcare leaders to formally declare systemic racism as a public health crisis here in Chicago.
That is clearly the mayor's priority, making that declaration. What should her priority be, given the rise in crime statistics that we've seen in Chicago?
Well, here's something that mayor should think about before she goes public and looks like a fool. Systemic racism. Here's the reality of her crime stats. 90% of her shootings and murders are black on black crime. Has nothing to do with racism. 90%. She needs to focus on violent crime. She needs to focus on the guns. She needs to stop coming up with excuses. Every one of these mayors, they're blaming it on COVID. They're blaming it on racism. They're blaming it on, the stars, the sun, whatever the case may be. Focus on the reality that you have a major crime spike in your town, just like New York City did back in '93. Could you imagine if Giuliani came in 1993 and said it was COVID or it was, it was something else? No, the mayor said it's all about crime. We're going to reduce crime. And at the end of 8 years, he dropped violent crime by 65%, dropped the murder rate by 70%, dropped the murder rate in the black communities by almost 80%. Unparalleled. And if we could do it in New York City, when we were having 2,200 murders a year, we could do it anywhere. They just need the leadership to do that.
Again, the stats for Chicago just this weekend: 5 killed, 40 hurt in citywide gun violence since Friday. And the top priority there, addressing racism in the city. Bernard Kerik joining us live on the program. Thank you for your insight and analysis. We appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.